Hello, Rob from Fountain Pen Journey with a review of the Platinum Meteor or Platinum Little Shooting Star fountain pen. Now, you may not have heard of these fountain pens. They are predominantly marketed as school pens for the China only market. So it's a bit of a difficult to find fountain pen. I mean, you know, there's all sorts of platinum cheap fountain pens. Well, not all sorts, there's a few. You know, platinum, you know, you've got the, you know, Preppy and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, Platinum have released this China only fountain pen. It's been around for quite a while. I am only aware of it being available from sellers on AliExpress. It may be available from other sellers on eBay, but that's possibly even going to depend on which region you're in, because eBay is not made equal. Some sellers don't have shops or listings in the UK, even though they ship worldwide, stuff like that. So it's going to be one of these things that's easiest to track down if you want one of these fountain pens on AliExpress. And it's available, as you can see, in a whole range of pastel colours. There are one or two other stronger colours, but in general it's these pastel colours which aren't really named. I mean, the sellers give them, if you like, English names which don't really mean a lot. I mean, just going through these: yellow, self-explanatory. I noticed that two different sellers on AliExpress had grey, which there's a sort of macchiato type colour, this one here, and grey here, which is a much more sort of pale battleship grey. Same goes with this. I think this was mint, but there is also this teal colour, which is not teal, it's like a almost blue grey blue, and this green colour here, which, to be honest, I think would fit in. Well, I don't know, make up your own mind. It's a free world. So there we go. It has got a Chinese name, Chinese characters. I shall show you what they look like. Come on, focus, you stupid thing. There we go. Move those out of the way. There we go. Chinese characters. So that is the name of the fountain pen, and it's got this little shooting star. So it is known as Little Shooting Star, also known as Platinum Meteor. So they're the pens. Other colours are available, but I quite like the pastel colours, which in my mind are very similar to the pastel colours that Kaweco released in 2021, early 2021, for their Perkeo fountain pen. And it is quite similar, but not the same. Let's compare these. Let's just move those out of the way for now. So I've got the Platinum Little Shooting Star stroke Platinum Meteor fountain pen and the Kaweco Perkeo Indian Summer fountain pens side by side. So they are quite similar. The Kaweco is somewhat larger, and I don't know whether you're noticing, I'll use this to point, the way the light is shining through the window here. Can you see the opacity of this Platinum Meteor Little Shooting Star fountain pen with this dark area here? Now that is where the converter or cartridge, I can't remember which one's in there. So as you can see through this plastic. They are quite similar. I mean, we're looking at a is this a hexagonal design? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hang on a minute. Just bear with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Octagonal design. So it is an octagonal design to the cap and the barrel of the Platinum Meteor, whereas the Kaweco Perkeo has this sort of ridged, multifaceted barrel and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hang on a minute. Oh, lost track. Anyway, they are similar but not the same. It's no way is it a Kaweco Perkeo copy from Platinum. They just happen to be faceted fountain pens. But I thought it'd be interesting for you to see the Indian Summer Kaweco Perkeo next to the yellow Platinum Meteor or Little Shooting Star. So just pop off the cap, same thing. As you can see, the section is girthier on the Kaweco Perkeo. We've got a much bigger steel nib rather than the winged, fairly small steel nib on here, which may be able to make out has got Little Shooting Star on the nib, which is a nice little touch. Similar in size. Remember, the Kaweco Perkeo will take standard international cartridges and converters, but the Platinum Little Shooting Star is a Platinum cartridge or converter fountain pen only, so proprietary cartridges. I'm just going to comment on build quality just briefly. The Kaweco Perkeo, this is a pen that I haven't got around to reviewing just yet, because it just hasn't been really a pen that I like the colour of the Indian Summer with the black and the mustard yellow, but I've just not, it's just not grabbed me enough to write with it for an extended period to be able to say yes, I've reviewed this pen fully. So that's kind of pending. So do hit the subscribe button if you are interested in knowing how I feel about the Kaweco Perkeo, because I do have some issues with it, but that's another video, so do hit the subscribe button. Thank you. So we'll go back to the build quality. Very, very cheap, thin plastic, whereas the Kaweco Perkeo is not the most robust, but let's face it, it's more solid. It's a more robust fountain pen than the Kaweco, than the Platinum Meteor Little Shooting Star fountain pen. This is quite, I wouldn't say it's brittle plastic, but it isn't. You know, you're not talking expensive plastic. If you drop this on the floor and stand on it by mistake, chances are it's going to shatter. It's not solid. I mean, you can see. I mean, you can see into it. It's thin. It's not. You know, it's not solid. I'm going to talk about the packaging before we talk about the actual pen as well, because the packaging for the Platinum Little Shooting Star Meteor is unusual. Normally packaging does not bother me. I don't want to buy a fountain pen that comes in a box the size of a washing machine because it's got the unpacking experience. Unboxing, you know, if it's a really nice box, if the packaging's particularly innovative or attractive, great, I'm happy with that if I've paid a lot of money for a fountain pen. But in general, what do you do with it? You either throw it away or you put it somewhere and keep it for if you do decide to sell the pen on. These Platinum Meteor fountain pens come in centrifuge tubes like this, and it's an interesting design concept. I don't know how these pens are sold in China, but they actually come in general with matching colours. So hang on, wait a minute, there we go, Platinum. So I mean, it's not just a generic centrifuge tube, and these are quite solid. These are actually really quite solid centrifuge tubes. It's a pretty good quality, and they do match the where's the, there we go, match the pen that they contain. What have we got here? We've got the other one. So not quite perfect, but you know, not too far off, which is a really nice touch. I'll just show you the packaging just briefly. Choose this grey one. I'll just stand these up because these are going to roll all over the place otherwise. So you've got a whole load of Chinese writing, tells you how to insert the cartridge, which I'll talk about in a minute. I've got more Chinese writing. There's a QR code. I haven't scanned that. It will be interesting to try that. Got the stuff on there, extra fine, so we're looking at extra fine steel nibs. Got the Platinum branding on top there, and these just unscrew and the pen is transported, sat inside, usually with a bit of foam, plastic foam type stuff to hold the pen firmly in place during transit so it doesn't rattle around, and that's how you get them, and it's really good. I will also say that these are cheap pens and they're inexpensive pens, and they come with the Platinum. Remember that Platinum take proprietary Platinum cartridges, so it comes with a proprietary Platinum ink cartridge, which is good, kind of what you need with a cheap school pen for kids. You don't want to have to go out and search for a cartridge to go in them, but they will sometimes also come with converters. Now I'll try and find the pens which have got the converters in. I've got these all mixed up now. No, that didn't have one. And I will do a writing example of all of these. Let's go through these. What's in this one? I can't remember. Oh no, that's one with a cartridge already installed. I need to crack on and use that one because I'm emptying these out at a rate of knots. This is the trouble when you've got a few too many pens which are all identical and you've ended up sticking the converters in the other pens. Here we go. Right, so this is the sort of mint coloured one. Very attractive colour, nice soft pastel colour. And this one I have popped in one of the cartridges. Now these, the converters rather. Now these are push-pull converters, and these, I mean, it's a proprietary fit. I don't know whether these are Sailor converters. Let me have Platinum converters. Yes, it is. It is actually branded Platinum. So they are cheap Platinum converters. They are a push-pull sliding mechanism up here. There is a ball inside the converter barrel there, so it's nice to be able to get one of these included. I bought, how many of these pens? 3, 4, 5, 6 pens. 2 of them came with these push converters, which is a nice touch, as well as the proprietary Platinum ink cartridge. So let me just screw that back and let's have a nosy at the pen in more detail. So on top, flat holes. Yes, if you blow through there, you know, designed to provide you with some safety if a child happens to swallow this cap, which is actually quite long, but there is a liner, cap liner in there to stop the nib drying out, which it would need. We have got a steel nib with a little shooting star on there, which is a really nice touch. It's a winged steel nib, quite a small nib, black plastic feed, a translucent smoky section which is relatively girthy. Bit of a step up here, but there is plenty of room on this section for even my adult hands to move my fingers up and down. Comfortable, no sharp bits, really well made. Good size. These are school pens, remember. This is a good size fountain pen. Not too big, not too chunky, but it's a really good size. The diameter of the section, really comfortable to hold. I was expecting these to actually be quite slim for small hands, but no, it's a round section. There's no indentations on this, and it's really quite comfortable to hold for long periods. Good size posts. It doesn't help when you post the wrong end of the cap, but it posts any which way. You know, these facets do not interfere with posting at all. You can line them up if you want, and it posts really securely. Not very deeply, but really securely. and it's a long pen, but the cap's so light it really doesn't affect the back weighting of the barrel at all. But I write with this pen on post and it's really comfortable. It's nice that the facets don't allow for too much rolling of the cap or the pen, which is, you know, how facets should work on a fountain pen. We have, talking more about the actual pen, we've got Platinum sort of printed on there. Nothing else going on down here with the barrel. It is faceted flat, and as you can see there is a sprue mark up there where it's been injection molded. Now, proprietary filling systems. It's got the Platinum proprietary filling system, so it only takes Platinum cartridges or converters, but lots of threads, decent depth on these threads. Sealed barrel, you can eyedropper these. And that is going to hold an awful lot of ink, and it's going to be a really good eyedropper fountain pen. I haven't tried it personally because these have got extra fine nibs, and quite honestly, if I inked up one of these as an eyedropper, that's going to hold 3 or 4 millilitres of ink, and I'll still be using it probably a year from now because it's quite economical with the ink. But we'll talk about the writing experience shortly, because it is noteworthy, but you also need to know a few things. So that's the pen. I'm just going to compare it. We've seen it next to the Kaweco Perkeo, but I'll use a Lamy All-Star for a size comparison and put it a bit more in central view of the camera. It's pretty much the same. Uncapped, maybe a centimetre shorter, just about, not quite. So it's a decent sized pen. These are not small, you know, cheap pens. Quite impressed. Really light, quite thin plastic. Remember, you know, these are not going to be as robust as say for example a Lamy Safari, but they are cheaper, remember. And I like them. I think the faceted design's nice. I think the colours are really quite attractive. I'll just put these together so you can see them once again now you've had a look at the pens. I'm trying not to mix them up because I want to do the writing samples. So yeah, I think they're nice. I think they're really good. They're affordable, they're cheap, they're nice colours, pastel colours, not too over the top. Whether they'd appeal to children in the Western world or not, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, usually in the Western world we tend to go for more primary colours, bright colours, things like that. I don't know whether these pastel colours would actually really appeal to kids, but I think they probably appeal more to adults. So I actually really quite like them. I think they're very attractive. So let's get straight on with the writing samples. So we'll start off with the yellow one. By writing the name of the pen. So I'm going to write this here. Oh, what am I doing? It's F. There's a P. Platinum Meteor, because this is the translation of the Chinese. So it's the Platinum Meteor stroke little shooting star. Little shooting star. They all come with the same steel nibs, which are extra fine. And let's see how they write. Well, I'm going to use this yellow one first. Because there is something you need to know about. Nice bit of feedback, but incredibly smooth. decently wet. This is extra fine, remember. Decent wetness. The flow is spectacularly good. Right with these for long periods, and the ink just keeps up. It writes. It's smooth, but there is a very slight touch of platinum feedback, which is a lovely experience. I'm going to talk about Platinum's feedback because it is slightly different. It's a bit like writing with a soft pencil, but not quite as draggy. It's smooth. It's smoother, and there's more lubrication than that. It's hard to describe, but you can feel the nib on the paper. But it's not. It just isn't scratchy. It's interesting. It's really pleasant. When I say about feedback with Platinum, I think the best way I can describe it, and there will be more writing samples shortly, the best way I can describe this is, if I said something was smooth, you automatically think glassy smooth, it's going to be slippery, and you're not going to feel anything on the paper. Nib to paper, you're just going to glide across. There will be no feedback. However, if I said you were writing with something that felt cushiony, or no, not cushiony, satin, so there is some sort of sensation of the nib gliding across the paper, but it's still very smooth, that's Platinum feedback. So think about satin rather than glass. You've got that still silky smooth experience, but it is not scratchy in any way. And it's really nice, even on these cheap Platinum Meteor little shooting star fountain pens. It's got good feedback, really good. The nibs now, I have got this one inked up, and I will do the same writing sample here. I'm using the push-pull Platinum converter in this, and it's really lovely again. Really wet. Lovely writing experience there. Ink flow is really good. So this is the cartridge, the Platinum cartridge that came with this particular yellow pen. This is the converter that I have filled with diamine cool green. Nice ink, sometimes can be a bit pale in certain fountain pens, and I was a bit worried about how it was going to perform in this extra fine Japanese nib, but it's got good colour. There is even some good shading. It's really pleasant to write with. I do reverse writing on this pen, which is admittedly, it's okay, but you've gone from feedback to scratchy, extra fine rather. It's not the best. Going back to the yellow pen, I'll show you the reverse writing here. Consistently, no, awful, scratchy. No, these, look, you've got an extra fine Japanese nib for a low price, stick with it. Don't try reverse writing, it's not a pleasant experience. Right, let's go to this one. Now this is the sort of macchiato, I'm calling it, pale grey coloured. Now I had issues with this particular nib, which I haven't remedied, so this is pretty much still how it is out of the box. Oh, you get the idea. It jumps over the lazy dog. So it wasn't absolutely smooth. I was these nibs have been actually really consistent, but I've actually found that this particular pen not quite as consistent, a little bit dry. Strangely, reverse writing is actually not too bad. Gone down to an extra fine, but this particular nib was just a little bit on the scratchy side, and I suspect that the tines were slightly misaligned. And I did something a little bit stupid. I actually tried to open up the tines a bit on my thumbnail, pressed down and thought, what on earth has happened, because the pen stopped writing. These nibs are really quite soft, so if you apply any pressure, and they're really good writers, really smooth, good, reliable writers, but do not apply any pressure to get line variation out, because these nibs bend really quite easily. So I actually bent the nib slightly and had to reset the nib and feed together, just back down again. It went down no problem because I hadn't done too much damage, thankfully. And now it writes a fair bit better, but it's still a little bit out of line. I know it is, even without looking at the loop. It's a tiny bit scratchy, but bear in mind I've had a lot of Chinese fountain pens which have been far scratchier and terrible, and I've had to realign them, brass shim them, and even smooth the nibs on them and to make them write well. This is not like that. This is much better. So the nibs aren't 100% from a quality control point of view, but then again, these are mass-produced school pens at quite a low price. As I said, only available from AliExpress, and I think it's a nice pen. I think it's good quality. I mean, it isn't the most robust feeling pen. That is the one downside that I will say. They do feel quite thin, quite cheap, quite plasticky. But they're nice, they're cheap, they're affordable, and it's an interesting platinum fountain pen. And it's also interesting the fact that you can't get hold of these pens that easily outside of China unless you go through a Chinese website such as AliExpress. And do I recommend it? Absolutely, I do recommend it. I wouldn't put it ahead of a more robust fountain pen like the Platinum Prefounte, which I actually really do like. It's a slightly nicer design though. I think the faceted design really appeals to me, and the muted pastel colours, not to everybody's taste, but quite attractive. I like them, and I'm very pleased that I bought this selection because I will use these pens quite a lot. So if you want to see more unusual fountain pens at the lower end, then please do hit the subscribe button. With that being said, thank you very much for watching, and I shall see you next time. Bye.